What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more J-drama score, and we're going back to the Crisis soundtrack once again. Mentioned it before, Crisis, I believe it's from 2016, at the very earliest it's 2015. It's a show that combines political intrigue, like national level security work, the sort of disruption of a terrorist plot and the sort of, rooting out of a, blackmail plot for like a high level political figure. Bottom line, it's a security team that does like super secret jobs for the government, and as the show goes on, they realize they're increasingly doing jobs that essentially are like cleaning up dirty work, while the government announces that officially what went on was something completely different. And they realize that they're increasingly expendable, that if anything should go wrong, they'll end up getting blamed for some terrorist attack that wasn't even, anything they had something to do with. So yeah, it's a show that gets increasingly dark as it goes along. The soundtrack, I mentioned it before a couple times, the soundtrack for Crisis, Special Security Squad, it's done by two different people. All the tunes we've listened to so far, and indeed the tune we're going to listen to this time, are done, or have been done by Sawano Hiroyuki. But the second half of the soundtrack, which we'll eventually get to, is done by Yamamoto Kota, or Kota Yamamoto, depending on whether you do the Japanese or English language naming convention. But yeah, we'll get to their tunes eventually. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, so I'm not sure if I should say him or her. But again, the first half of the soundtrack, or not even the first half, the first 7 of 19 tunes are done by Sawano Hiroyuki. And yeah, his score is just unbelievable. If you've heard my reactions to Sisirk or Fire 9D or 9A14S, you'll know just the level of intensity and power and sort of composition of Sawano Hiroyuki's work. And this tune incorporates themes from a couple different tunes that we've already heard, including 9A14S in particular. But even saying that, it's another tune which has a couple different sections. It starts very kind of melodic and almost inspiring, which is to say, even though it's a dark show with an increasingly dark sort of atmosphere and tone, there are moments where the humanity of the main characters shine through, where they genuinely help people and so on. And so there are kind of lighter moments of the show, and the first part of this tune feels like sort of the background, the score for some of those moments. But then it gets even more epic, and kind of this piano comes in, and you start to hear one of the themes that's in 9A14S. So this piece has a lot going on, and in a way it's almost like a suite of like different sort of tone atmospheres that go on throughout the show. So let's get to it. This is Sawano Hiroyuki. The tune is Public AN, like public dash and then AN, as in like capital letters or an acronym. So perhaps making reference to a public announcement. I did mention, there are cases where like they're doing something where it's like, cleaning up the dirty work or the sort of like dirty baggage of some like government figure, but the official government announcement will be that it's completely unrelated, and we just had a group of people who just took care of this normal situation. So the team knows the reality of what's going on, but maybe the term public announcement relates to the way in which what they're doing is sort of secret and sort of in the shadows, because the people above them don't want these things to be known. So maybe that's what it relates to. Either way, let's get it. This is Sawano Hiroyuki. The tune is Public AN from the Crisis soundtrack, I believe 2016. 9A14S. Writing is brilliant, but to be able to play like that. It's a really great tune. I forgot it was even that diverse. I did remember it had that sort of different opening where it was sort of, kind of like light and a bit floaty, and almost like reflective in a positive way. And then it switched, and it's not that that second part was like morose or sad by any means, but there was more. I don't know, the intensity of the emotion was more, and obviously, intensity of emotion, it can be great, but obviously, depending on how that emotion manifests, there's more room for hurt or for danger or for pain, the greater the emotion. So it felt like there was more at stake, I would say, in the second half of that piece. But again, it was even more diverse than I remembered, but what I love, again, is that there's that mellow that sort of articulates through the piano that in the original, or not the original, but the tune 9A14S, which is the first track on the soundtrack, that comes across in this sort of sung vocal during a very like loud and sort of explosive segment. So again, I love that he took a theme, did Sawano Hiroyuki, and sort of put it in a few different articulations in a couple different pieces throughout this his part of the soundtrack. So yeah, big ups to him. Let me know what you think of the tune. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.